Welcome, everybody. So happy to see so many folks here. Good to see some names I know and recognize. Folks I love here. This is great. Hi, Joey. So good. Stacy, St. John, New Brunswick, Canada. Fourth or fifth shot. And Birdie is her favorite. This is great. Tiny town in Maryland. It's your first time too, Jennifer. Welcome. All right, let's get this party officially started, everybody. Welcome. My name is Lauren Bailey. I'm the founder of Factor 8, and I'm super excited this month to hang out with my enablement friends. Before I forget, I'm going to thank Unifor. They're our sponsor of the sales shots, and they've got a super cool tool that measures engagement during live video calls and through the sales cycle. So check them out. We'll be putting an offer in about them later. So I talk a lot about sales. Usually our shots are rep topics and manager topics. And this month it's an enablement topic, which is so exciting for me. My former life, I was a sales leader, but also a training leader because I'm so old, we didn't have enablement. I was that first person to train someone at IBM how to sell a computer over the phone. It's a true story. My last corporate gig, I traveled the world launching inside sales centers for SAP. I was in charge of their global training strategy. So 15 years ago, I jumped out of corporate America and started my own company, Factor 8. And I've been building the kind of training I couldn't find when I was a sales leader and a training leader for inside sales organizations. So if this is your first time, I'm going to just give you a teeny tiny tour. Here's a few of the clients that we've had in the last 15 years. My mission is to help people love going to work. I think that when we love our jobs, we love our lives, right? When we feel successful at work, everything changes. So what I've been working on for the last 30 years are hacks to help sellers be successful faster. Ramp time is my whale. So if that's yours too, you're in the right place. I'm going to be sharing tips and tricks I've collected over the last 30 years to build confidence and build skills for digital sellers and some managers as well. If you have to jump off before the end of the hour, I'm going to shortcut to my offer now. I'll be talking about a lot of skills that are difficult to teach digital sellers and difficult to teach virtually, right? We have people who sell virtually and we have people who are sitting at home working virtually. And that's a double challenge for us trainers and enablers. So a ton of the skills I'm talking about are in these two certifications. You can find them at thesalesbar.com. Don't forget the promo code because that's good for 1 week, SS0124 for 20% off. Big thank you to my sales shot leaderboards. Lots of first timers here today, but check this out. How many our top folks have been with us? So go and register for more. And by the way, spread through your organization. Everybody loves a low cost, no cost way to do training. You can find the rest of our schedule at factor8.com/shots. Our next few are already there and ready to be registered for. Hey, training leaders, here's the suggestion. We all know webinars are great edutainment, but not necessarily deep learning, right? So always encourage folks to attend as a team and then book the 30-minute slot afterwards so you can discuss and maybe even try to apply and practice some of those skills. Oh my goodness, I've got lots of preamble slides, which is a bummer because I have so many tips, but I have spent the last 2 weeks traveling around and the next 2 weeks traveling around doing SKOs. So if you are last minute planning your sales kickoff or mid-year event, invite me to the party. I have so much fun doing this and you can learn more about it and see the reel at factor8.com/ easy for me to say, speak. Here we go. Sales shot number 1. Let's do virtual better. Listen, I got to be honest with you. Fill in the blank. For so many years, I hated virtual training. In fact, for 10 of our 15 years, we didn't have any online offerings at Factor 8. Why? Because in-person's better. You know it is. I know. Did she say that? We all know it's true. We get more things accomplished when we can meet with people face-to-face live. That's the truth. Sorry to tell you, that's the first shot. Swallow it if you will. But this is the world we're in, man. It's necessary with our remote workers. But I think how we use it, when we use it, and the quality of it is everything. And so my whale in the last 5 years is how do I make e-learning? How do I make this asynchronous stuff as effective as possible or as close as possible to that synchronous live in-person learning. And when I say as close as possible, folks, I'm talking about Bloom's taxonomy. It's so nice to talk to people who get this. I spend most of my time with sales leaders. And if I say Bloom's taxonomy, you know what happens, right? Eye glaze. So on the left-hand side, if you're new to training and enablement, on the left-hand side are the basic things where most training stops, especially online training. Like, gee, can I define what a lead is? Versus pushing to the right where I can modify it, I can rewrite it, I can role play it, I can demonstrate the skill. Really tough to demonstrate skills in e-learning. We have worked our butts off at Factor 8 to push it consistently past 3, sometimes all the way to 6. So not easy, right? The goal is to get it as close as possible to this, mastery. So I'm just going to share my formula. I call it bliss to get to mastery. B, you got to start with buy-in. We know this, right? It's hard to get people to come to training sometimes, which means we're missing the buy-in. And if folks aren't motivated, they don't learn. L is for the learning, right? Whether it's instructor-led, whether it's e-learning, asynchronous, synchronous, whatever it may be, the learning comes next, the imparting of the information. And let's hope it's facilitation and two-way using adult learning theory, not just one-way telling or video, because that don't work, folks. I is for interaction. This is what makes it good, where we apply the concepts, where we do the role plays, right? We move forward in Bloom's taxonomy. We can get all the way down the BLI with e-learning, good e-learning. On the other side, this is the part where we got to partner with the people in our org, right? Synthesize and support. Synthesize is where we have to combine the skills with other skills, because unfortunately, our people don't work in vacuums. I mean, wouldn't it be great if a sales call sounded like, hey, would you like to A, get past the gatekeeper, B, build rapport, or C, right? We have to use product and sales and systems and process all together. And if we can combine those during the training, it's more effective and the ramp time is shorter. And of course, then support. This is where we've got to train our partners out there, usually the frontline managers, to coach, refresh, and certify. That's tough. It's not always easy to do it. This right-hand side is sometimes the toughest. And that's the stuff I built Factor 8 around. This is where we really shine. Okay, so what was the checklist? In 2019, thank God, right before COVID, we went online, we put training online. And so I created this, what's the best look like checklist. I'm going to share it with you, right? First and foremost, let's get our hands dirty, folks, right? We've got to get interactive. We don't go 5 slides. I don't know, maybe other people have a different formula that they can type in, but we don't go 5 slides without somebody having to interact, make a decision, sort, prioritize, even if it's just a simple click. You can't play it, set it, forget it, then take the quiz. Micro is key. Nobody's got the attention span. We talk about mid-level at a minimum for Bloom's already. Multimodal. Now, the truth is more men prefer a multimodal approach than women, but we all have ADD, right? Think about just tuning into a news cycle. There's 3 things happening at once with tickers across the bottom of the screen. So we like to do the same. Involve all of the senses, and by the way, all of the learning modes. Some people are readers, some people need to hear it. Probably everybody's favorite thing in the sales bar are the recorded calls, real snips of real calls. Obviously, we edit out, the important information, but you can hear the good, the bad, and the ugly calls. Our style is fun and casual. Listen, that's because we train revenue people, but I just have never been to a sales floor that's successful, that's uptight. So that's the same kind of feel that you're going to get from these shots. We're looking for that same thing when we're pulling out training to our clients. And so you replace that with what works for you and your group. And then this is the big key, involving those managers, right? We build them toolkits because it's got to be fast and it's got to be easy for a manager to use it. But we also want separate paths for managers and their involvement in the live sessions. Folks, at Factor 8, we require the managers to take a class before the reps. It's called Developing Your Team. And it's everything you wish you could tell them from a trainer's point of view. How to support the training, how to quit undermining the training, how to coach the training, how to use the tools. But then we require them to come to the classes and we follow up with them afterwards to make sure that that support is happening and that accountability. So teach, support, refresh. In fact, I'll show you a live example of this when I show you the sales bar later, but every class that we have has course chasers for refreshing and toolkits for supporting, and that's key. If you want people to keep it alive, give them the tools and make it easy for them. All right, shot number 2. Welcome to my soapbox. Videos suck. Now, you may be watching this in a video, which is funny, right? But folks, they aren't training. They are one way. And if it ain't interactive, it ain't good training. I know they scale easily. They're cheap. They're easy. Everybody in the world who's got a phone is now a thought leader because videos aren't hard. But videos and recorded PowerPoints, they're not training. Good for scale, bad for recall. You said it, you forget it, okay? I need you to teach your leaders this. They don't know the difference between good and bad training. So we're going to have to make the most out of some bad situations. If you had to scramble and get things to virtual learners and half of your stuff is video, I get it. How can you make that interactive is the question. I'll give you some tips. I'm just going to prove it to you real quick first. This is the forgetting curve. Sure, it's not the first time that you've seen it. But what it means is when something's being presented or it's passive, folks will forget 50% of what you were told in one day, 90% in 1 week. So these stars here, that's coaching. This is great. Just tell your managers, all you have to do is go and coach every single thing you tell your reps 4 times a week with every single rep. They'll have no problem with that whatsoever, right? Nobody's got time for that. But really good interactive training can also beat the forgetting curve. We're looking at 70 to 90% recall when you have great facilitated interactive training. And that's what we're looking for, folks, because they can't use it if they can't recall it, right? All right, so I love to use this analogy. This is how I teach leaders what they need to know about training. Because you and I both know every sales leader comes to you last minute and says, oh, listen, while you're prying open their heads and pouring in everything they need to know, go ahead and add these 27 pages of data and you have 10 minutes. So we have to teach them what works and what doesn't work, right? And I like to use the image we all remember from college, red Solo cup, I fill you up. Anyway, I'd like to go through a little story with them, and you can steal this too. This is a true story. This is when I realized the problem with videos. I was talking with my kid, DJ. Hey, DJ, do you want to take skateboard lessons? DJ, no, I already know how. Confused face. Really? Because you don't have a skateboard? I watched a video. It's a funny story. So then I play a 1-minute video of somebody doing something. I like the finger whistle. And then I randomly call on somebody to finger whistle. And they're like, wait, what? And they spit all over the place, and it's a lot of fun. But we make that and draw that analogy to say, hey, you know what? To learn to whistle over video is silly. It takes practice. So does a good sales pitch. So does a good value prop. So does a good introduction, voicemail, fill in the blank. Practice takes time. Go get that time from your leader so that you can make a difference in interactive, facilitated learning that they'll recall, which is step 1 to applying. All right, I hope that was helpful for y'all. Amen, Deepak. All right, cool. So as we're redefining teaching, we need to help them understand that sales leaders don't get it because they didn't get it. I think the truth of the matter is they didn't get good training. When we think of teaching, we think of college, which is lecture, which is crap. Nobody remembers anything about that, right? And because they didn't get training coming up, they don't believe in it, invest in it, spend the time for it. They'd much rather buy a sexy tool, right? We got to give them the 1, 2, 3 punch. Tell, teach, coach. Here's that red Solo cup again. CUP. Connect, use, practice. That's facilitation. Facilitation beats the learning curve. Now, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time filling in what these mean because I know you all know. But I'm telling you, light bulbs with sales leaders, steal this and use it. videos aren't bad, but it's sort of like the workout video. If you really want to learn, you go to a class, you watch, you see your peers, you interact. Then the coaching is the personal trainer. What's happening with frontline sales managers right now is that all of it's falling on their shoulders, right? When we had to scramble and we use videos to teach, they're not learning. So managers are one-on-one teaching, teaching, and coaching every single rep, and ramp times are getting longer. So help everybody learn what you need and then go take it. I like to use a ratio. They need to know every hour of time is a minimum of 3 hours to prepare. Okay. That is also helpful in the build ratio. So it takes a little longer to train, it takes a little longer to build, but you're going to get results that last longer. All right, let's move on to ramp time. Man, this was my jam coming up, right? This was so fun. I've got some really great case studies. At IBM, I was able to cut their ramp time in half. In half. They started making money faster, and you better believe that attrition went down as well. At SAP, I got the inside team ramped 3 times faster than the field team. They said it couldn't be done. Then they started coming to our training. So here's a couple of my top tips. When you hear one you do too, give me a hallelujah, high five, or amen. Amen. What's wrong with me? In the comments, okay? Let's pat ourselves on the back a little bit. The first thing, appreciate it, Amy. The first thing we're going to do is get them on the phones ASAP. I used to do a lot of like come in and assess my program consulting. There were folks in training for 3 months. Way too long. They didn't pick up the phone until month 3. If you've hired the right kind of rep and they're not getting to sell and talk to customers until month 3, there's a problem. The truth is you don't have the right kind of rep, right? All right. Give me an amen. Who's got it? Amy. Anybody else? Getting them on the phones right away? I know you guys are. Come on. There we go. Thanks, Ralph. Thanks, Trisha. Here we go. How about this? Combine folders and days. Adult learning theory, I'd like to explain to people as a mental file cabinet, right? I've got a sales folder, I've got a process folder, I've got a systems folder. That's synthesized. You want to combine them as much as possible. When you have a day of product training and then a day of system training and then a day of, company orientation, A, it's a snooze fest. And B, it's not helping them build the mental pathways to access multiple folders in their brain. So mix it up as much as you can. Can I get an amen? Rah, Trisha's on it. Thank you. All right, that's awesome. Okay, here's the biggest tip. We try to jam it all in their little heads in their first couple weeks on the job. And it's impossible. It's also counterproductive. What I suggest is new hire training, train reps for their first month on the job only. Then you're sending them out unconsciously incompetent instead of consciously incompetent, because sales is a confident sport. Don't start getting into returns. Don't start getting into the deep dives of products. Don't start getting into the advanced stuff that they won't even talk about until month 3. Because you and I both know most of their time in the first month are voicemails, updating Salesforce, trying to get a hold of people, and the first 30 seconds of a call. Okay. Don't confuse them with the rest, because you're going to scare them. You want them coming out dumb and confident. And that is something you hear on the phones. You know what I mean by dumb, right? All right. Outsource what you can. You all have too much to do and too much to build. Where can you outsource? Sales. I know a company. And systems. But your product stuff, your process stuff, you got to build that internally. The other area I think is super important, a lot of people forget, is acumen. Business acumen, we need all the time now. Industry acumen and customer acumen. Those are important. I also love it. Anyone give me an amen on number 5, test constantly. This is not a break. New hires should be tough. They got to prove it that they can stay. Woohoo! Yeah. Listen, once you get a good rapport with your sales leaders, they're going to trust you to can the folks who aren't going to make it out on the sales floor. We used to name that tune in under 4 hours. I bet you can too. You know if they're going to make it or they're not going to make it. So use the test to get rid of them before they hit the sales floor. By the way, get your managers involved with the call coaching form. That's your final. Okay. Of course, you're going to have managers present, but they should be the final as to somebody sticks or not. And your people should be worried and up late studying to make sure that they're going to actually pass. All right. If you have video and if you have crappy one-way training because you had to, and I get it, add assignments, add scavenger hunts, add discussions, gamify it somehow, right? Ask them questions about stuff that's buried in the middle of it. Have them go talk about it. You don't just want to send somebody to watch a video or shadow without an action item, a checklist, a quiz, or something that goes with it. Yeah, some Kahoot. Thanks, Trisha. Perfect. Okay, here comes my very favorite one. It's called the pause game. Grab a call recording. If your company doesn't record calls, it's okay. You can use ours. You can use any call for this. It doesn't have to be the rep you're training. In the sales bar, we have hundreds of recorded calls because it's so effective. All right, you play about 5 seconds at a time of the call, and then you ask 2 questions. Question 1, what is the customer thinking? Folks, this is critical. Why? Because the game is noisy for them. They're like a brand new quarterback watching the defense coming at them. You get a new hire after their first couple calls and say, how'd it go? Their answer is, I have no freaking clue. I was so busy in my head. When we get them out of their head and into the customers, we do them a favor. And of course, the next question is, what should we do next? Again, we're talking about adult learning theory. What file do I go and pull? The nerdy science behind that is actually called active recall. It's the same reason the basketball players do free throws. Teaching them to go get the information literally burns the neural pathways from a ditch to a 3-lane highway. And that's what you want on sales calls. And that's my number 1 tip. Because it's not what do I do that makes a long ramp time. It's when do I do it? All right. Woo, I'm going to run out of time. Here we go. I'm just going to go as far as I can, folks. When we run out of time, we'll just book a part 2. Sales shot number 5, virtual selling is different. We did a survey at Factor8. Over 70% of respondents logged more than 3 challenges with virtual selling. So if you used to be face-to-face and now your people are remote, if you're trying to use the phone and email and digital channels more than your car, more than you used to because your industry is embracing that direction, or possibly go-to-market strategies are shifting. I've watched about 40 industries go through that, so welcome. It's fine. You'll be okay. The water's good here. If that's the case, we have to train them differently. This is really, really important. I've watched hundreds of companies say, oh, you know what? We've got field training. We're just going to give that to the inside team. Massive backfire. If you're in the middle of doing that, email me at info@factor8.com. I will walk you through how to stop the madness. But this is where people had struggles. Researching and prospecting, structuring the day, running the virtual sales meeting, closing the deals. Here's a couple top takeaways for you. How can you use this? Maybe this is your to-do list, okay? This is where people say they're struggling selling virtually. How do I add value? How do I make it enticing? Why? It's crazy noisy out there. You get the emails, so do I. Stop the LinkedIn spam madness. Finding the decision maker, it's tough. Getting referrals, it's tough. I got a class on both of these. They're having trouble running the virtual meeting. Oh my God. I watched my financial planner who used to meet face-to-face do a meeting with me on Zoom, showing me his notepad. I mean, I wanted to self-harm. It was painful. If you're in the middle of that shift, they need professional training on running an online sales meeting and how to stop giving crappy demos. The name of my class for that is literally Demos That Don't Suck. If you haven't trained them, they suck. Prospecting is tough for everybody. Here are specifics about where and how it's tough. I'm just going to let you screenshot it. We'll send the slides afterwards or rewatch it. Virtual meetings. Here's what they're saying is tough. The first 10 seconds it is, because you know what? They want to get you off the phone. We know that. It's also tough in a meeting. When we're starting that awkward stuff, we need to train folks through that. Next steps, only 8% said they struggle with it, but most folks don't do it. All right, we're going to shift directions again and talk a little bit about implementation, because how we train is really as important as what we train. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you facilitation tips here. We're going to talk about steps. And these are some of my top tips, right? Live calls or call recordings. When we go on site with a customer, we teach a skill. let's say it's intros, right? We do it, we interact, we facilitate, we come up with good ideas, we practice, we role play, we pause, we go out to the phones, we make live calls. You can't hide then, right? It so helps with buy-in as well. Oh my God, it works. Then we grab those recordings, we come back and we play them, we coach them, we steal from each other, we go do it again. Boom, instant recall and mastery. If you can't live call, you could pause the Zoom, then use recordings of past calls. Analyze the game tape, it's huge. Okay, the pre and post training rollout, so important, folks. Like I said, we train the managers ahead of time, we follow up with them afterwards. The best thing you can do is give those partners of yours a recipe, a checklist, a calendar. I'm going to show you where you can download hours that you can borrow. All right. Everything they need to do to support it, make it easy. And if you really want them to do it, don't add to their to-do list. Use already scheduled meetings. If possible, give them tools to make it easy and fast. Here are some of the ones that we've got for you at the sales bar. As you can see, in fact, I should show you this live in a minute, but the point is, I'm showing you the class and the manager toolkit. Each one of those are tools that people can use, right? And those are our steps 1 through 8. If you'd like to steal these steps, I've been perfecting it for 30 years. Take them, go for it. You can download our implementation guide, factor8.com. Thanks, Amy, for popping that in, /implement. We show what to do on a week-by-week basis. This is assuming we're going to really focus on one skill or area for a month, which I find is best practice. We also have a calendar view. Steal ours, make it easy for those managers, okay? I want to talk to you about the tiny skills that make the biggest difference. I'm going to hurry through these so that you can steal it. This was exactly what we just did at HPE. They took a class of new hires and they split them. They gave us a class and the others did what they normally did. Look at those results, you guys. That is a 20x. They said they were 50 times more productive than the other classes. They also uncovered $1 million in pipeline in month 1. I'm telling you, these are the hacks for the virtual skills. And these are the ones that I have in those 2 certifications I'll show you online. All right. What are the critical remote skills? If that's new for your team and you're trying to up-level the training that you whipped out in response to COVID, here are the top 10 favorites at Factor 8. Again, all of these are available at thesalesbar.com. Take a screenshot of these or write them down. I'm so happy to share more information so that you can learn about these. But these are the ones that people are getting the most out of, folks. All right, I got a bonus shot for everybody. Are you using AI in training yet? I had to force myself. I'm not an early adopter of tools, but here's where I found it's great. Ever done a brainstorming session and there was absolutely no knowledge in the room? You can fix that with ChatGPT. Have them go search there for answers. I think that's pretty cool. You can get competitive insights. Watch the date, right? It depends on if you have the plugin because ChatGPT can be out of date. But you can also do text-based role plays and even voice role plays when you're using the app. You can also use it to create role play scenarios. Anybody else feel like they scrape the bottom of the barrel trying to come, like everybody in my family is in a role play in Factor 8 training. They can create surveys, assessments, and quizzes, which is pretty cool. You can also use it to analyze survey data. You can ask it for feedback. You can ask it to summarize the feedback and tell you what to do about it. So try some of these if you haven't already. All right, here's my pitch one more time, folks. These classes are exactly the ones I showed you. If you have to build training for AEs, BDRs, ISRs, account managers, virtual training for the first time, whatever it may be, it's taken me 15 years to build these. Steal it. The classes are under $80. You can get a full certification for under $600, especially with the promo code. If I get a chance, I do want to show you guys what it looks like in there. I'm going to pop in and show you a little bit in a couple minutes so that we can like actually picture it. And then I will let you ask some questions after that. Whew. Just want to share a few more results that you can expect. So let's take a look at that while I go and open up. We're going to share instead my screen so that y'all can see what this stuff looks like in here. It's so cool. All right, Zoom, come back to me. There we go. Let's share. You guys ever lose your tiny window? There it is. Perfect. All right. We're going to share screen 2, and I'm going to show you how to find these things. Go to factor8.com into the online training, or the shortcut, thesalesbar.com. As you look at this, you can search by rep type, SDR, BDR. Those are great full certifications, AE, account manager, and manager. Pretty cool, right? As you go in, you can look at one class. If you've got to build a class on demos, go take mine, right? Why not? It's $80. It's so easy to use. But you can also get a 6-pack or a 12-pack. Yeah, it's a bar, right? Of course, we sell things in 6-packs and 12-packs. Coming soon is the keg, which is unlimited. These are certifications, and look how inexpensive they are. All the classes I was telling you about are in there. So let's go take a peek in the bar. These are classes that we can search for by role or even by skill, and by the way, by sales cycle. So I've clicked AE, and you can see some of the different course names in here. If this is on your build list, or this currently is a video at your house, come take ours and see if you can use it internally. You don't have to hire my trainers. We license the curriculum to enablement departments now. Yay. We don't have to be your one-stop shop. Let us supplement what you're already doing. It makes it easier, folks. Hit the easy button. I promise it's good stuff. And I'm going to show you a little bit of it. First, I wanted to show you that every one of the classes has one of these manager toolkits in it. This just makes all the difference. This is how we hit the easy button. Of course, I picked the one that isn't active. There's a video for managers telling them what to look for, coaching cheat sheets, feedback forms, even that implementation guide. We also have activities they can use in one-on-ones, in huddles, and in team meetings. Once they get it, oh my God, they're grateful. Just whip out that tool. For every single course, there's also refreshers, right? Ever train somebody something and 6 months later, they go back to what they were doing? Boom, here's some more videos where we can refresh or level up, take it to the next level. That way we hit everybody. I just want to share, by the way, remember I talked about the call library? Let me just slow scroll through this. This is everybody's favorite. Listen to the skills with real customers. We have changed and blurred out names to protect the innocent and the guilty. And then finally, I wanted to share with you our call coaching forms. You know, every organization that moves to a digital starts with, oh, we should define what good looks like. And there kicks off a 6-month project of managers trying to decide what's good, and then a 20-page answer key of how to score it. And we have simplified that. We have a call coaching feedback form that goes with every single class, but we also have some just based on the sales cycle as well. This is one of hundreds of templates that you're going to find with us in the sales bar. There are script samples, there are activities. I'm so proud of it. So thank you for letting me show it to you. I'm going to go back now to our slides so that we can finish these up, and then I'm going to take some questions. All right, while I've got your attention, I just do want to share with you, anybody have heard of Girls Club before? wearegirlsclub.com. You may know me from there. It's my passion project where we help more women earn promotions in revenue roles. So whether that is moving from a seller to a sales manager, marketing, enablement, operations, we find mentors, there's skills training from the sales bar, there's confidence building, there's areas for spotlight. I'm just really proud of it. We have 500 promotions and counting, and we have a cohort only once a year, and applications are open now. Don't go to girlsclub.com at work. wearegirlsclub.com/apply. If that's you, I'm excited to meet you there. If it's not you, I want you to please think of one woman right now who's sitting on a customer success or a sales team or a marketing ops or enablement team who you think is fantastic, and I want you to go encourage her to think about leadership. And when she says, oh, yeah, but well, sure, I'm not, that is perfectionism talking. Don't take it. Encourage her anyway, and then send her to us. All right, folks, I'm going to share my contact details here, and then I'm going to pause for any questions that we have. Cool? So feel free to put them into chat or into Q&A. Here's my information. That's my direct email. I will reply. That's Factor 8's phone number. The other website you're looking for is thesalesbar.com. I went so fast. Sharon, thanks. It was great to see you here. I'm glad that you guys were here. This was fun. I love talking with enablement leaders. There's always so much on our plates, isn't there? It can be absolutely daunting. I spent most of my career doing it, and I'm lucky enough now to pick and choose clients I get to work with and doing that some more. It's watching those light bulbs. There's nothing like it, right? Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure you join us next time. I'm going to open up my chat to answer any questions. Feel free to hang out with me here.